This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV. We're in Cardiff here for the Second Coming press conference featuring Nathan Cleverly, Lee Selby, Buckland Rees too. With me. Oh, okay. Callum Smith, Tobias Webb, Chris Jenkins, Andy Lee.
It's a monster.
It is. Back in Wales. Success of the first one obviously means that you can come back here May 17th and what are you doing?
No, it's okay.
All right. All right, let's just talk about...
I've been told I've got to be more professional in your interviews.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and be professional. Okay. What do you want? Do you want the real Eddie or do you want briefcase wanker Eddie?
What do you mean the
corporate Eddie?
The shadow we see on Sky?
Yeah. When
you're talking absolute bollocks after a fight. I'd rather you just continue in the manner that you've been doing it. Right. Right, let's talk about the topic of the day. Nathan Cleverly. Talk to me about the link up with Nathan Cleverly and how it's going to work.
Well, this is the first fight Nathan Cleverly has with Matchroom. Very excited. Opportunity presented himself. Obviously, we were coming to Wales anyway. So everything made sense. I've already, stated that I'm very interested to make the Cleverly Bellew fight. Having spoken to Nathan over the last week, that's a fight that he definitely wants. That's a fight that Tony Bellew wants. So, first priority, delighted to have him on the show on May the 17th. And then hopefully progress from there and try and make a Bellew fight later in the year.
In his interview with me earlier, he said it was going to take each fight as it comes. So, get the first one out of the way and then decide where you go from there. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, we've both got a very good understanding of where we want to go. Things have moved quite quickly, so it's really a case of cementing that May the 17th date. Every fighter wants to win a world title, but outside of that, you look at the money fight, and the money fight in the whole division is Cleverly against Bellew. So that's definitely on the radar. But really, yeah, you're right. May the 17th, get that done, and then plan and progress from there.
I don't know if you'll be aware of this, but I just see on Twitter now, the memes, they've already made one of you, and I'm pretty sure it's at Millennium Stadium. Don't quote me on that. But it's basically you doing your Froch Groves, hands in the air pose, with a Team Clev bandana with Bellew and Cleverly on the big boards. So, so people's ideas of what you're trying to do probably is true.
Listen, mate, I just want to make the big fights. And I said to you at the start of the year, I want the domestic fights. And I want Bellew Cleverly. I want Frampton Quigg. Froch Groves. Froch the Gale. Groves the Gale. Any other big fight that can be made. Joshua Fury. Brooke Khan. These are the fights that people want to see. These are the fights that I want to see. And all I'm seeing at the moment is more and more demand coming for the right fights and the big fights. And I just want to make them again and again and again. So, Bellew Cleverly that gets me so pumped up, as a fan. And we're trying to, even like Rees Buckland too, Callum Smith against Tobias Webb. I'm just trying to, rather than just bring over foreign fighters, I want to try and include fighters that it means something to. Winkle, can you charge my phone? Yeah. Cheers, mate. Well held, by the way. Because you look at we brought that kid over for Mitchell the other week. He was embarrassing. And you look at his record and you speak to a couple of agents out there and you think, oh, he'll be okay. God, he was awful. And at least over here you know what you're going to get. And a good example of that is the Tobias Webb Callum Smith fight, where Callum is coming up against a young, hungry fighter, not in his backyard, but not far. So he'll have a lot of fans here, Tobias Webb, and it's a proper test, the biggest of his career. Rather than bringing over a foreigner you don't really know as a person, you don't know how hard he's going to try, how much desire he's going to have. Now that's at one level, but on the top level, these big domestic fights, if they're done right, because just because you make a domestic fight doesn't mean it's going to sell. But if you promote it right and you get the right mix and you build the hype, then this is the way forward.
Okay. Lee Selby, what's the situation first regarding his mandatory challenger? Is that not going to happen on that bill?
Well, the EBU have mandated that he fights a guy called David Dielli from Italy. I wasn't like mad on the fight. It's okay, it's credible, but anyway, cut a long story short, Dielli wanted too much money, so I agreed to pay it, and then his bum fell out, and he don't want the fight now. That was last night. So I think we're just going to go balls deep in an eliminator for the world title. He's number 3 in the WBC. He's 6 in the IBF, 12 in the WBA, 10 in the WBO. He's ready. Let's fight. You know, I was looking at the list last night at WBC. Celestine Caballero, you know, former world champion. Someone, he needs to step up. He needs the name, because ultimately, one more fight and then a final eliminator. Eddie loves a final eliminator. But it will actually be a final eliminator.
Who's got the is it Gonzalez who's got the belt in that weight? Johnny Gonzalez.
He's got the belt, and he's supposed to be fighting soon. You've got Mares at number 1. You've got Vella or Velez, who's Puerto Rican, good fighter. But I think Mares, I saw a picture of him the other day, looked about 20 stone. So I don't know whether he's moving up to super feather. If he does, I think we can make Vella, or whatever his name is, against Selby in a final eliminator. Winner fights Johnny Gonzalez. But Selby, I'm so pleased with and so pleased for Lee Selby, because everything is just beautiful. The landscape of all the rankings, I've got exactly the route in which I want to go. He's filling arenas. He's walking around with plenty of swag now, you know, and I like, you know, people told me when I signed Lee Selby, you're going to have your work cut out of him. God, he don't sell a ticket. You know, you've got to do things right. Anyone can sell a ticket if they're good enough. But now Lee Selby is an arena filler. And it makes me really, really proud of, one, the job that we've done, being selfish, and 2, proud of Lee Selby, because he's walking around, just looks like a different man. He's going to win a world title. And I'm really excited about working with him and Chris and Jamie Sanagar, who do a great job for him. And you know, I'm buzzing for the next 6 months for Lee Selby.
Gavin Rees contemplated retiring after his defeat to Buckland. He's not going to retire. He's taking the rematch straight away, and so is Gary Buckland. So credit to the pair of them for stepping back into the ring as their next fight.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to retire, isn't it, when you felt you should have won the fight, and I felt he should have won the fight as well. Not taking anything away from Gary Buckland, it was really, really close, but these two just really epitomise what being a fighting man, and people use that term a lot, don't they? I know it's one of Tyson Fury's favourites, but you know, I said to Gavin Rees, what do you want to do now, Gavin? And the answer was, I'd like the rematch. And I thought, there's no way Gary Buckland's going to take the rematch. I phoned him up and asked him, yeah, we'll have that. And you know, they punched holes in each other for 12 rounds, one of top domestic fights, and now they're going to do it all over again. So it just adds to a fantastic bill. And Rees Buckland too, you know what you're going to get, don't you? I mean, it can't be anything but an absolute cracker.
Christmas cracker. Moving away from this show, not that it's not a great show and a big show. Froch Groves tickets. Do we have an update on the extra allocation that people are waiting for?
I'm hoping that I can make some kind of announcement tomorrow. We're getting there, is what I'm saying. We can go on sale now with the tickets for, say, like coach packages and stuff like that, where the extra attendance is not going to have an impact on the public transport requirements. We've got a little bit of time, and hopefully tomorrow we'll make an announcement, but we're getting there. That's all I can tell you at the moment.
Okay. As regards to situations where they may be put together, either press-related or fan-related, can you give us any news on that?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing something with George Groves next week, some kind of fans forum, open questions. Then the week after, doing Carl Froch in Nottingham, and then either the day of the weigh-in for Manchester or the Thursday of the Manchester fight, getting them together for a big face-to-face press conference with open forum, with fans and media. Just working on some kind of plan at the moment for that. I don't want to bring them together too much because, you know, something could happen. It's that heated that I know that's what people want to see, But you just got to be careful because I don't want anything to get in the way of this fight. And, you know, I think once could be enough before the formal press conferences that will, of course, be fight week, you know.
So I'm assuming your plans for a press tour, if you like, around the country.
There will be a press tour. We will be taking, you know, we'll do Groves in London, we'll do Froch in Nottingham, and then we'll bring them together in Manchester. My initial idea was to do them together in those 3 cities. We may still do it, but I don't know. I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be the right thing to do, but we'll look at it. And listen, if people have got their own suggestions of what they think works, you know, I'm always there on Twitter to be abused and berated and whatever. So I'm always listening to what any ideas people have got, apart from you.
There's no need for that. Brian Rose, likely to be possibly Atlantic City.
Where?
Atlantic City.
Oh, I thought you said Atlantic City. You did say that. June the 14th. I'm being told at the moment, East Coast for sure, Atlantic City or New York. So hopefully this week we'll get an answer on that. Great opportunity for Brian. Really chuffed for him and Bobby. I don't know if you saw him on ringside. Bobby looked like he just spent a week in Champneys. Did you see him? And you know, it's a tough fight, but it's a shot at a world title, and good luck to him. You know, I just think it's great for, you know, Brian to go from the level of British title to sort of European, and then have the fight with a final eliminator against Maciel, come through that, and then get a shot on HBO. Couldn't ask for more.
Would you say that Brian Rose has got more of a chance against Andrade than Rees and Purdy had against Alexander and Broner?
I think that Rees and Purdy were 2 different kettles of fish. I felt as though Rees had a chance against Broner. I really did. And he was beaten comfortably. Good performance, but just wasn't good enough. Purdy was never going to beat Alexander other than chinning him and hurting him, and he didn't do that. So, you know, I think Brian's a clear outsider against Andrade. Has he got as much chance as Gavin Rees? You know, I don't know enough about Andrade. To be honest, I think people talk about he's awkward and he's a quality fighter, but how good is he? We'll find out. But Brian fancies it. I think, you know, you've got to give him a shot in the fight. And what's he got to lose? Go out and make a name for yourself. You know, go out and fight in New York or wherever it is for the world title on HBO. Come on, man. I mean, this is a guy who wasn't even on TV 12 months ago.
I've got a funny feeling about that fight.
You think Brian's going to do it?
Just get a funny feeling that he's going to upset the odds.
To be honest, I got that feeling myself the other day because it's so off the radar, and like, Andrade's not a draw at all in America. So I don't know. And Andrade won't want this fight because Andrade wants to fight Alvarez or Trout or Lara, and he's probably thinking, I can't fight Brian Rose. Like, but that's the beauty of a mandatory, and I don't think he wants a fight. And I think there could be an upset as well. Be good, wouldn't it?
Very good. Going back to Froch Groves, undercard, when are you going to make an announcement on fights or potential fights? We kind of know a couple of names that possibly be on there anyway, but when formally will you make that announcement?
I would say we'll start dropping the fight-by-fight basis. I think we're looking at probably 4, maybe 5 fights on the undercard. Joshua is definitely on. Someone asked me that on Twitter the other day.
Opponent for Joshua?
Not yet. But again, we're probably down to 2 or 3 options. Kevin Mitchell, I've been trying to make the Vasquez fight. This is hot off the press here, Coogan. So Vasquez got cut in his last fight against the Russian. Can't remember his name there. And it's unlikely to be ready for May the 31st. And last night, the IBF sent out a notice to say that Kevin Mitchell is now in a final eliminator against the Canadian, I can't remember his name, it's like 17-0, good fighter. So we've got to weigh up whether we take that fight as a final eliminator to fight Vasquez, or whether we try and do a deal with Vasquez to perhaps fight later. But my gut feeling is that Mitchell will fight the Canadian in the final eliminator. And then I'm talking about another world title fight at the moment, which I'm not going to go into at the moment. Got Stephen Smith against Salcedo to try and get on somewhere. Even Paul Smith against Rocky Fielding, maybe. You know, I think that I'd like to make a domestic fight on there as well. And then we're looking at Bellew Chilemba 3 and Brooke Jones 3 as well.
Absolutely, I was going to ask you to come on to them.
I have to say that was a joke because some people will think that was a bit. Yeah,
what? Yeah. Eddie said in Cool's interview.
How are we doing for times, Vince? 10 past 2. Okay.
Regarding the Brooke and Porter Malignaggi threesome, we're just waiting now for the 19th of April. There's not going to be anything that's going to happen before then, is there, with regards to this fight? April 19th. And by the way, Kell Brook, Eddie's not coming with you on the 19th because he's got a show in Manchester. He's been telling everyone he's going to watch that fight with you.
I'll be in Manchester. That fight's going ahead. The winner fights Kell Brook for July 17th or whatever. Just got to wait now. Kell's be ticking over now. And that's it. It's done. Job done. He's got the fight. He's got to go and do the business. Disappointing that Khan didn't fight him, but I just.
What do you make of Khan and Luis Collazo?
It's a good fight. I think Collazo wins, to be honest with you. He's an Al Heyman fighter. But I don't know what Amir Khan's getting for that fight. Say, very best way, $2 million. Right? That's $3 million less than I offered him to fight Kell Brook. But if he's on the promise like he believes he might be to fight Mayweather, maybe he's doing it for that reason. But it's a tough fight. I mean, it's a good fight. And one thing you got to take your hat off to Amir is he fights top quality fighters. Doesn't often always beat them, But he hasn't fought. People were like criticising like Robles is for Brook. Well, you look at Amir's last fight, Julio Diaz and Carlos Molina.
Incidentally fighting Adrian Broner.
I don't know what that's all. He hasn't fought since Khan, has he? But listen, we're done talking about Brook Khan for a while. Hopefully we'll get there one day, and I honestly wish Amir the best of luck against Collazo because I don't want him to lose.
Show-wise, 5th of April, obviously you've got Prize Fighter at York Hall. 19th is Finsbury Arena, Manchester, Quigg, Kuala Murray, etc. Joshua Campbell. May 17th, your first show in May, is that right?
Yeah.
Which will be this show we're at now, Cardiff. 31st, Froch Groves.
Yeah.
Hold on, go on. Is there?
Well, we've got another prize fighter. We're going to do a midweek prize fighter at the end of May as well, looking at May the 21st. And I'm looking at doing it potentially in Hull or Liverpool.
What weight?
Probably lightweights. Might do something in Hull with Tommy Coyle and Luke Campbell, not fighting each other, but obviously 2 lightweights and then a lightweight prize fighter as well. And then May the 31st, Froch against Groves. June the 27th is Ricky Burns up in Scotland. And then July the 12th is the final date before the end of the summer we're looking at. Could be Liverpool, could be Hull, could be London. Just trying to finalise that at the moment.
So you will have one show in June, one show in July before the season's out.
And Kell Brook in July as well, probably, unless it's end of June. But I think they'll take their time to the end of the deadline.
But obviously, the whereabouts of that fight is undecided. It could be here over there.
I think if it's Malignaggi, perhaps we could come to an agreement to do it a little bit later, but get it over in the UK. If it's Porter, my guess is that it'll be in America because there's not the money to bring him over.
Okay, well, that's about covered everything. Unless you have anything you need to say.
Good to see you back after, I mean, you're doing a lot of these other shows now, which is okay. It hurts a little bit, but I watch all your interviews, Coo.
All of them.
I watched a few with Tyson Fury. So you at all the press conferences there. Fury, Chisora, you know. Oh, look, everybody. Wow, you must watch this clip of him throwing a table over. How many views did you get on that?
170.
Not bad, is it? What about Shovegate? What's that up to now?
435.
Not that you checked it this morning.
I check it regularly.
I like Tyson Fury.
You saw, obviously you saw my interview with him when he was talking about you.
No.
So what interview have you seen?
No, I'm just saying I like Tyson. I've just seen him. What did he say about me?
It was an interview where he said, obviously, he wanted to take advantage of you before because he felt you were vulnerable. And when he met you at Hay Tyson's Fury's press conference. Well, I don't know about that.
You heard what he said.
What did he say?
You're the top promoter. Do you remember?
He actually did say that.
No, listen, on a serious note, I like Tyson Fury a lot. I think he's great for the game. His language ain't the best sometimes, which is very difficult when you're dealing with, let's say, traditional broadcasters who you're really not allowed to say that kind of stuff with. But I think he's great for the game. I think he's entertaining. I think he's funny. He cracks me up when he calls himself a handsome bastard. What did he say the other day? He said he's like, on his tweet, he said, I'm like the Miley Cyrus of boxing. Young, sexy as fuck. And I don't know. I just think he's funny. Not sure about flipping a table over. No.
Flipgate, Shovegate.
One I think might have been slightly pre-planned, but you know, at the end of the day, you got to try and sell the fight, haven't you, as best you can.
People have asked me whether that shove looked like it was staged, and I was there, and like you can't say it was.
You know what the giveaway was with Tyson Fury, and I know that he'll say that it was, but he went right. It was like, okay, let me tell you. But the funniest thing was when he pulled the mic out, and obviously it got broke, and then he just.
To be fair, he's pretty unpredictable, and you don't really know what he's going to do anyway.
That's what makes him exciting. He's unpredictable in and out of the ring, you know. And let's hope we can get Joshua Fury. It's going to be a massive box office fight.
Which Fury?
Tyson Fury in 2015.
That's what he was talking about, actually. Yeah.
Oh, but listen, he's a bright enough bloke. He knows how big that fight is, you know, and the most lucrative, medium in terms of revenue for fights in the UK is Sky Box Office. So obviously that's a huge fight, and he knows that that's a huge fight. Of course, it's not the right time for the fight yet, but next year that can be a massive fight, and it's just another one of those big domestic fights that we want to make.
Do you know what? I'm going to take something back. A while ago, before you announced Froch and Groves, I know Groves was put into a mandatory position for Froch's title, but I did kind of say that, quote, you didn't have the arsehole to actually make this fight happen. Do you remember this?
What fight?
Froch Groves first. But then, as that you've done that, I can see you persistently trying to make these fights that I didn't really think you would end up making.
Fighters, you know, the bottom line is we've got to fill these arenas. We've got to give people what they want. And by people, I mean fans and broadcasters. And that's how we're going to grow the game. But ultimately, that's how we're going to make our money. If we don't fill arenas and we don't get great ratings and more interest from the broadcaster, we're not going to make any money. So fighters have got to understand that, yeah, they can have the little warm-ups and they can have the easy touches every now and again. And they won't be main event, they won't be chief support. But they've got to have proper fights. But they're up for that if there's the reward. And there is the reward because when it's a big fight, the numbers are good. So it's just what we got to do. We got to make big fights. And you know, Liverpool was hard work the other week. We had a lot of fights fell through. You know, and we just about got away with it with Bellew Brudov. It weren't the greatest show ever, but you know, you come down here, this is going to be an unbelievable show. But you just got to keep making those big fights every couple of months. Boom, one. Everyone goes, wow. And Bellew Cleverly is another.
Just the final thing. Actually, that battery's going to run out, so that'll do then. I'll have to cut my final thing. Eddie Hearn, thanks for talking to IFL TV. Yes, we'll work that out. And actually, don't mention any prizes at the minute until next week. All right, thanks for talking to us, and we look forward to prize fighting next week at your call. Kugan Cassius, Eddie Hearn, IFL TV. Thank you very much.